Hello everybody, welcome back to the Nocturnal Gaming Network. My name is Xeriua, and today we are playing Assassin's Creed Brotherhood. This is episode number 3. So, last time we re-entered the villa of Monteriggioni in the present day, and we set up a little assassin base camp there. And then Desmond re-entered the Animus, and here we are, in Roma. So, we followed some guards, and we found that this man, whose name is Husband, is here, resisting arrest as he mourns the death of his wife. So we must go talk with him and see what's going on.
She was beautiful.
She was, until that porco defiled her. I wish he'd just killed her. I wish he'd just killed La Mia Amata. People who saw her grow up cheered when he spat on her. Smiles on their faces when her neck...
I understand.
How can you? My Livia was innocent.
I have lost family to the rope. To treachery.
Il Carnefice watches from his home on the hill above. He threatens to hang me if I cut her rope.
Okay, so we must kill Il Carnefice. He lives on the hill overlooking the gallows. Our objectives are to locate and kill him. And for full synchronization, we must kill our target with the hidden blade.
When you are ready, take her down. I will deal with Il Carnefice.
Ooh, Il Carnefice. Alright, so since we're gonna go stab him a little bit, let's take a look at this, yeah. Oops. I need to go to the database, because I apparently wasn't quick enough. What's going on here? So, born in 1473, he was an executioner. There's nothing in the history books about Il Carnefice, so I did a little digging in Abstergo's mainframe. Here's what I found. A natural ally of the Borgia, Il Carnefice kills to the roar of an approving crowd. The other small piece of information I could dig up is that he fancies himself as some sort of twisted artist. I guess that explains the crowd bit. I wonder if he does tricks while performing executions, or whether it's all in the subtle way he pulls the lever. Alright. So, can I... It looks like I can. I didn't think this was going to work, but I can apparently just, kind of jump up the buildings and walk up the hill, and then magically we're right here at his house, I guess. Mansion, villa, probably just a house. Let's see what's going on here. I wonder if I can...
Not my best, but it's hard to make art with poor materials.
That guard's probably going to see me over there. But I think if I just kind of do that, like this...
Requiescat in pace.
Oh, no words of wisdom, Ezio? Just rest in peace?
No!
Ooh. He hit me. There we go. No letting you go. Okay, so we have killed Il Carnefice, and we have killed his escort. Now let's see what they have for stuffs here. I want that axe. Yes. Oh. Okay, so I can't hang on to it. That's fine. I believe later in the game we can upgrade our sheath to allow us to carry the big weapons, so I look forward to that. Now, where are we going next? Oop.
Master, he's losing us! And several casualties have been reported.
Okay.
All pilgrims arriving in Rome should avoid
So,
the
we need to find... What were we doing? We were looking for Machiavelli. So, we need to find our way somewhere so we can talk with Machiavelli here. Oh. Oh, okay. Ezio's just gonna fall into the fountain.
Let go!
Alright. Oh, where are you, Machiavelli? Right over here. There he is. Alright, now, one thing I should probably do before I go mess with Machiavelli is I have not gone through and done anything with our database yet. So let's go through and take care of the database, and then after that we shall talk to Machiavelli. Oh boy. We have a lot of people here. Rome and Tuscany. Okay, so you know what? Let's just start with the locations, and we'll start with the Villa Auditore and Monteriggione. So, for Monteriggione, built in the 13th century by the overlords of Siena, Monteriggione was actively involved in the defense of Tuscany against Florentine attempts to gain more territory. At the front of this conflict was the Auditore family, who became the city's rulers and protectors. It was the Auditore who constructed Monteriggione's famous walls, which can still be seen today. Although standing in opposition to Florentine desires, the Auditore had cordial relations with the Medici family, largely due to their collective Florentine roots. Monteriggione successfully withstood attacks from Florence until in 1554 the city was betrayed. Giovanni Zetti, the keeper of the garrison and a Florentine exile, was allowed to return to Florence in exchange for the keys to the city. Extraordinarily, the Auditore were allowed to continue their rule of Monteriggione under Florentine leadership, showing that the Medici do not forget their friends. And I feel like we read that in Assassin's Creed 2. I feel like that was the same. And I think this one looks sort of the same, but it's a new game, so I'll read it again. There shouldn't be too many overlapping entries because we're in a completely different location. We're in Roma this time. So, constructed in 1290, the Villa Auditore is an important medieval predecessor to the early Renaissance architecture. The villa's wonderful symmetry and ordered geometry were a revelation for its time. After a Florentine attack in 1320 left the facade damaged, Domenico Auditore, Ezio Auditore's great-grandfather, purchased the villa. Although he publicly admitted to a renovation of the facade and the addition of a painting gallery, he orchestrated a complete reconstruction of the interior in secret, designing his home to double as a fortress and training ground, looking out both over the city that it protects and the Tuscan plains. Domenico was more than just an architect and a warrior, he was also a skilled engineer. Recently discovered hidden compartments and rooms with mechanisms blocking entry are several unique features of the building that make it a technological marvel as well as an architectural one. So in Roma, what do we have for Roma? We have the Palazzo del Popolo. So the future site of the famous Piazza del Popolo. In the early 15th century, the piazza was merely the continuation of Va Flaminia. As a result, it was most travelers' first view of Rome upon arrival. The powers that be eventually decided they'd rather the first impression of Rome be a little more impressive than a muddy expanse, so they set about building the beautiful square it is today. So we have the Trinità del Monte, best known for presiding over the Spanish steps which lead down into the Piazza de Spagna. Construction of this church was completed in the early 1500s. Both the building and surrounding areas are property of the French state, whom commissioned the project in celebration of their successful invasion of Naples. A very short-lived victory. Yup. So, the Aquaga Vergini, named partially for the virgin waters that flowed through its channels, and a myth that 30 Roman soldiers asking for water were led by a beautiful young girl to the source of the spring. How they know she was a virgin is pretty self-evident. The Aqua Vergini is the most famous water source in Rome. Its springs provide the Trevi Fountain, the Villa Borghese, the north and south fountains of the Piazza Navona, and the fountain of Piazza de Popolo with their water, none of which you will get to see because they were all built in the mid-16th century. I believe we're right around 1500 now, so that is a couple hundred years away. Considered to be some of the best drinking water in the world, Romans and visitors lined up to fill containers from the fountain, although after a 2007 construction accident that halted the Vergini's flow temporarily, and the chemical cocktail distilled daily in the Trevi fountain to keep it clean, I'd stick to tea. Yeah. Okay, so we have the Mura Arleni, enclosing all 7 hills of Roma. This line of city walls was built during the reign of Emperor Aurelian and Emperor Probus from 271 to 275. It served as a deterrent against raiding clans of barbarians who liked to strike poorly defended suburbs and villages. In 545, during the Gothic War, Totila, king of the Osgoths, destroyed much of the wall in an attempt to reduce the Byzantines' ability to defend the city. And that's what's wrong with the Goths today. Too much makeup, not enough village raising. Okay. So, Roma. Evidence suggests a human presence in the area of Rome for at least 10,000 years. The mythology of early Rome tells us that the city was founded by Romulus, who was raised in a cave with his brother Remus by a she-wolf. Apparently the 2 infant boys took their nourishment from her teat. A story like that must be true, right? Archaeological evidence supports that Rome did in fact grow from pastoral settlements on Col Platino, the future site of the Roman Forum upon which there are several caves. Eventually, the Republic of Rome was founded in c. 510 BCE. The successful and wealthy republic gave birth to the Imperial Roman Empires in c. 27 BCE, which were sprawling territories ruled by succeeding emperors. When the empire fell in 476 and the Roman Catholic Church took power in 756, Rome continued to be both an economic and cultural powerhouse in Europe. In the mid-14th century, Florence surpassed Rome as the epicenter of the Italian Renaissance. This irked the papacy to no end, so they set about spending vast amounts of money and resources, commissioning architects and artists to create masterworks in an effort to bring the focus back to Rome. The result of this vanity-driven ambition was an unmatched creative and scientific output that is still marveled over today. It is safe to say that Rome is, historically, one of the most important cities in the Western history, and arguably the world. Alright, and the Cappella Sistina. So, this one is possibly similar to the one from Assassin's Creed 2 also, but let's read it. Inspired by the architecture of Solomon's Temple, the Sistine Chapel is the most famous room in the Apostolic Palace, or the Pope's Vatican residence. The chapel's famous ceiling frescoes were only begun in 1508, so no climbing across the fingers of God, but the wall paintings that line the chapel, painted by Pietro Prenguino, Sandro Botticelli, and Domenico Ghirlandaio, among others, are an ample consolation prize. As the Pope's personal chapel, Mass is frequently held inside, as are the papal conclaves, which occur after the Pope's death. The cardinals are locked inside the chapel and are not permitted to leave until a new Pope is elected. Only through smoke signals sent up a chimney to announce the new Pope can they escape. And worst of all horrors, no cardinals, unless ill, can be attended to inside by more than one servant. That's just cruel. Okay, so that's all for our locations, and we have some society peoples. We have the architects. In contrast to the hard geometric brutalism of Florentine architecture, Roman Renaissance architecture represented a true return to classical proportion, with buildings that sprouted classical columns, structural elements, and decorative forms, but also integrated new ideas from Florence, like the grand palazzo blocks. Although many of the architects in Rome came from up north, they were inspired by the old ruins, creating an interplay with the ancient Roman structure throughout the city. Roman architects saw themselves as fulfilling all of human history, creating the essential expression of human will through the perfect cityscapes. Out of this tradition of formalized expression came the great Renaissance architects Bramante and Michelangelo. Okay, and we have doctors. Diagrams of the human body and the printing press influenced Renaissance medicine greatly, which had in turn been influenced by Arabic medicine during the Middle Ages. By the 15th century, science had already begun its slow climb towards becoming more relevant than spirituality in the field of healthcare. However, many people stubbornly clung to old ways, visiting local mystics instead of doctors. After the plague ravaged Europe in 1350, many doctors dressed in special plague gear to treat patients. To prevent contaminations, they wore a cape coated in wax and a primitive gas mask in the shape of a beak. Alright, we have the thieves. Renaissance thieves were usually wanderers who could vanish at the first sign of trouble, making it hard for the guards to track them. Black market businesses in Renaissance Italy was booming. Muggings in the major cities were fairly common, as were murders. Often strollers were attacked in the dead of night, killed, robbed, and then rolled into the nearest river or canal. Even if a thief merely stole rather than killed, the penalties if caught were often unduly harsh. Torture was common, thieves were put in stocks, and sometimes even publicly executed. In order to avoid punishment, thieves often created bonds of trust amongst each other. Each was supposed to tell the rest his dirty secrets, which meant that each thief potentially held his comrades' lives in his hands. Alright, and we have mercenaries. Mercenaries were highly mobile in Renaissance Italy, moving from contract to contract. Professional captains called contadori, usually paid for by cities, recruited men for a fixed amount of time. Many of the for-hire soldiers who served in Italy weren't even Italian, coming from places like Germany, Switzerland, and Hungary. In their perpetual struggle to dominate Italy, the Italian states hired mercenaries to wage war against their Italian neighbors, and the soldiers, many of whom who had no code of honor, would often rape and sack freely. When the state that was bankrolling them ran out of money, the soldiers would disband, frequently to be hired to destroy the very city that they had just fought to defend. Some mercenaries were honorable, fighting for a cause they believed in, but such men were few and far between. Where they existed, however, they were much sought after. Alright, and we have contacts. First, we have Niccolo Machiavelli. So, Machiavelli was born in 1469. He was a philosopher, writer, and politician. Unarmed prophets have always been destroyed, whereas armed prophets have succeeded. These cynical words were written by Niccolo Machiavelli, one of the greatest minds of the Renaissance. Considered a pioneer of the realist philosophy, he believed that all men are evil and will act upon their vicious nature if given the chance. The third son of a Florentine attorney, Machiavelli was tutored by his father in grammar, rhetoric, and Latin. In 1494, he entered government service as a clerk and an ambassador. Made a member of the Florentine Diplomatic Council, he was sent to the courts of France, Spain, and Rome between 1499 and 1512. It was during this time that he met Cesare. Immediately taken with the young Captain General, Machiavelli wrote, "I can find no fault with him." Machiavelli followed Cesare, learning his approach to war, until 1500 when he became de facto leader of the assassins. From 1500 to 1503 he settled in Rome, although little is known of his activities there. In 1503 Machiavelli was put in charge of the Florentine militia and the city's defense. He recruited citizens for his militia, preferring men who had a stake in Florence's continued success to dispassionate mercenaries. His strategy seemed to work in 1509 when Florence defeated at Pisa. Machiavelli continued to participate in Florentine government after the Medici family was chased out, but when the Medici returned, they arrested and tortured him. He was accused of conspiracy against them. Unable to find any wrongdoing, the Medici exiled Machiavelli. He retired to his estate in Sant'Andrea, where he wrote his famous works, The Prince, The Discourse on Livy, and the Florentine Histories. Machiavelli died in 1527. His place of burial remains unknown. Next, we have Caterina Sforza. Alright, so she was born in 1463 and is the Countess of Forli and a noble. A countess by marriage, Caterina was notorious far before she ever arrived in Forli. Raised in the court of Milan, she received a classical education, well tutored in the art of war by her father, the Duke. At court, Caterina also acquired a passion for alchemy and hunting. In 1473, when she was 10 years old, Caterina became engaged to Girolamo Riario, the Pope's nephew. They consummated their marriage when she was 14. Once in Rome, she was heralded as one of the most outgoing nobles at court, while her husband had a reputation for being one of the most ruthless. With the premature death of the Pope's brother, Girolamo gained even more power, securing the titles of Lord of Imola and Forli. When the Pope died, looters sacked Rome, destroying Caterina's residence, unafraid despite being 7 months pregnant. Caterina rode on horseback to the Castello Sant'Angelo and defended the Vatican with cannon fire and soldiers. In 1484, she moved with her family to Forli, paid off by someone with a grievance against her husband. The Orsi brothers killed Girolamo in 1488. As a result, Caterina became ruler of Forli and Imola. She wasted no time, winning the favor of nearby rulers, revising the tax system, and training the militia herself. Although she advocated peace when those around her were hurt, she dealt fierce vengeance, frequently killing enemies' wives and children in punishment. In 1499, Cesare, in his quest for territory, decided to return Forli to papal rule. Side note, the papacy claimed ownership of most regions in Italy. These lands were lent out to rulers, but papal troops could march in and reclaim them at any point, much like libraries sent out set out to burn down the homes of those who kept books checked out for too long. As Cesare marched toward Caterina, she sent the Pope a friendly letter that had been rubbed with the sores of plague victims. It all went downhill from there. As an assault by papal forces became inevitable, Caterina snuck out of Forli with a small company of soldiers on Christmas Day, 1499, and journeyed to Monteregione, seeking armed support from Ezio Auditore. Christmas Day. So we have Maria Auditore, Ezio's mother. Born in 1432, she was a professional writer and noble. Tomorrow I will make torta bolognese. I leave to pick up the eggs and meat from the market and will be back in time to open the bakery as the sun strikes the top of the courtyard. How privileged a life we lead. It is hard to remember on such a day what is given may also be taken away. These are the final lines of Maria's diary. Born into the powerful banking family, the Moisi, Maria is one of the most famous historical sources of the time period due to her multi-volume diary, which has been translated by several notable scholars and is on display in the Uffizi Gallery in Florence. Now, thanks to the Animus, we know why her diary ceased. After her husband Giovanni's arrest, during which Maria was mistreated by Florentine guards, she entered a semi-catatonic state. Cared for by Ezio's sister Claudia at the villa, she remained silent for years until Ezio brought her a bundle of feathers he had collected during his travels, an activity that her youngest son Petruchio once engaged in. Brought back to life by Ezio's gift, her temperament has been improving steadily since. So we have Claudia, born in 1461, also a professional noble. The third child of Giovanni and Maria Auditore, and the first girl in the family, Claudia lived a privileged childhood in Florentine high society. After the murder of Giovanni and her two brothers, all that changed. Claudia, Ezio, and Maria fled to Monteregione and the safety of their uncle Mario's villa. Claudia remained in the villa, caring for her nearly comatose mother, while Ezio sent off to avenge the murders. A record book recovered from by archaeologists. Okay, I think that's a typo. Anyway, revealed a relatively unexciting existence. Between months spent managing the villa's finances, brief periods of activity were supplied by Ezio's visit and the renovations she was able to carry out with the money he brought back from his travels. Under her care, the town blossomed, ushering in a new era of prosperity for Monteregione. Claudia, however, remained cut off from the world she loved. To hear of Ezio's adventures only reminds me of my own lack thereof. This is not the life I dreamed of as a child. Ezio does not understand. He treats me so delicately. I despair of ever emerging from this prison, she writes in one particularly poignant letter dated July 1495. Alright, so we have Mario Auditore. So, born in 1434, he was a professional contradario and noble. One of several important contradari patrolling the Tuscan countryside, Mario Auditore was a born leader. He began his military career at 6 years old when he played a significant role in the Florentine and Milanese conflict at the Battle of Angari. While on an expedition to Monterchiri with his father, he alerted the Florentine general Micheletto Antodolo to the appearance of several dust clouds over the road, which signaled a surprise advance by Milanese troops. Thanks to Mario, the Milanese attack was foiled and the Florentine won the battle. Although Mario sided with Florence during Angari, for most of his career he defended the interests of his hometown Monteregione, derailing Florentine attempts to seize Tuscan territory. while Mario's younger brother Giovanni moved to Florence in 1454 to pursue a career in banking. Mario stayed at the family villa in Monteriggioni, stating in a letter to Giovanni that he preferred fighting like a man to filling out balance sheets. After Giovanni's death, Mario brought Ezio, Claudia, and Maria to the family villa and taught Ezio about the conflict between the Assassins and Templars. Ever since, Ezio and his uncle have been inseparable. Alright, we have Ezio Auditor. Oh, he's now an assassin, not a professional noble. So, born in 1459, well, this experience has been quite the education, although there's nothing in the history books following Ezio's disappearance from Florence as a teenager after the execution of his father and brothers. We now know that he fled with his mother Maria and sister Claudia to his uncle Mario's Tuscan villa. Trained there as an assassin, he prepared to hunt down the Templars, the men behind the execution, and hunt them he did, killing them one by one until he reached their leader, Rodrigo Borgia. With the help of his uncle and the other assassins, he discovered Rodrigo's plan to open an ancient vault beneath the Vatican, supposedly leading to God himself. Ezio defeated Rodrigo, entered the vault alone, and communed with a projection of Minerva, a member of an ancient race that existed before humans. This all sounds very far-fetched when I write it out like that, now doesn't it? Fortunately, we have the Animus's records to prove it, so we didn't dream it or anything, unless we're all in a dream right now. Okay, so we're done. That's it, because we already read Il Carnefice. So, that took a little bit longer than I thought it would. I didn't realize we had so many entries. I will try not to neglect them. But let's have a little conversation here with Machiavelli.
Ezio, what a surprise to see you here.
I thought you had sent for me.
Never. News of the villa attack has spread across the city. We were certain that you were dead.
Not yet. I am still very much alive.
The Borgia must not discover that you escaped them.
Alright, so we must accompany Machiavelli through Rome, encountering dangers along the way. We must throw the Borgia captain into the scaffold to kill him, for full synchronization.
Follow me. Take care not to draw any undue attention.
Oh, come on, it's me. Going to a blacksmith, huh?
I am much in your debt for your assistance.
Okay. Come on, Machiavelli. Where are we going? To this guy? Is this where we're going? Maybe? Yes. Okay.
You would be wise to purchase missing equipment. You will not live long in Rome.
My talent is fair.
It's fine. I'm good.
My blade.
You've never seen prizes like these.
And the guards have their guns, courtesy of the Borgia. Fortunately, I can help you.
Grazie.
While you're in my debt, perhaps you will listen to reason.
As soon as I hear some, I will let you know.
Alright, so we must buy the stiletto and Roman spalders. Bam, there's the Roman spalders and the stiletto. Okay.
Ciao, signori.
Bene. Now you can survive the journey back to Firenze.
Perhaps. But I'm not going to Firenze.
Oh.
There will be no peace until we rise up against the entire Borgia family and the Templars who serve them.
I do not recall such brave talk at Monteriggioni.
How could I have known that they would find me so quickly? That they would kill Mario?
Rodrigo surrounds himself with snakes and murderers. Even his daughter Lucrezia has been sharpened into one of his most artful weapons. But she pales in comparison to the man behind the villa attack. He is ambitious, ruthless, and cruel beyond imagining. The laws of men mean nothing to him. He murdered his own brother to take power. He knows neither danger nor fatigue. Those who do not fall by his sword clamor to join his ranks. The powerful Orsini and Colonna families have been brought to kneel at his feet, and the King of France stands at his side.
Give me his name.
Cesare, head of the papal armies. What does he intend to do with his power? What drives the man? That I still do not know. But Ezio, Cesare has set his sights on all of Italia, and at this rate he will have it.
Is that admiration I hear in your voice?
He knows how to exercise his will. A rare virtue in the world today.
So many guards. Apparently Machiavelli's done talking. We're going this way. Okay, so what are we doing, Machiavelli?
There is so much crime.
Should we not travel by horse? Roma is quite large.
As Cesare's conquests in Romagna continue to succeed, and the Borgia grow in power, they have taken desirable areas of the city for themselves. We cannot use the stables here.
Oh, the will of the Borgia is law now?
What are you implying, Ezio?
Do not play dumb with me, Machiavelli.
Do you have some kind of plan?
I am improvising.
Alright, so let's see if I can just kind of walk... Oops. Uh-oh, she's gonna make noise. That's not good. Alright, can I get in here? Yes, but it doesn't really do me any good. Alright, I have to kill the captain by throwing him into scaffolding, so let's kind of do this. Alright. Oh, he is. Oh no! Okay. Okay, that was close. I didn't want to kill him. I want to throw him into the scaffolding. Oh, come back here. What are you doing? No, don't run away. Ugh! Get off that horse.
Come on, men! We have Borgia! Destroyers!
Okay, I got him. See if I can grab him again. Come on, grab him. Oh no, the wrong way. That sucks. Come on, grab him. Throw him that way. There we go. This guy on the horse is having trouble. He doesn't even know what's going on. He's just like, yeah. Uh-oh. Okay. I got you this time. Take that. Alright, now that guy's gonna run away, so we need to go back to Machiavelli. Okay. So, let's go back to Machiavelli.
Just because you kill a few guards does not mean the people will grant access to the stables.
You are right. We need to send a signal. Wait here.
Send a signal. Burn their house down. Alright. So. Looks like it's going to be nice and easy to climb right up here. Is there a ladder? Oh, there is a ladder. And he's getting mad at me. Where is he? Okay.
It seems the stable is now available for purchase.
After you.
All right. So we go places, and then we burn people's houses down, and then magically we can buy their buildings? Is that how this works? I guess? Guess so. Okay, so I have achieved 100% synchronization on this, and I think this is a wonderful place to end it. So when we come back, we will lead Machiavelli the, 15 steps or so to the white dot, and we will buy this stable. And yeah, we'll see what happens from there. Thank you all so much for watching. My name is Xeriua, and this is the Nocturnal Gaming Network, bringing you Assassin's Creed Brotherhood. Have a wonderful night.